People are sharing the creepiest unsolved mysteries that they can't stop thinking about. So I decided to look into the details of each one. Brandon Swanson's case always boggled my mind. The fact that he alerted his parents that he was lost and needed help. They were on the phone with him, heading toward him, only to hear his last moments. To know they were so close is so terrifying. Recently, Reddit user uRandomWeeb asked the people of r/Ask Reddit to share the creepiest unsolved mystery that keeps them up at night. After reading through some of these, I will definitely not be sleeping soundly for the next couple of days. Here are the most bone-chilling cases. Warning: disturbing and graphic content ahead.
1. Clinton Nelson. Did this young man leave on purpose? Was he met with foul play, or did an accident occur? A mysterious disappearance leaves many with questions. Was Clinton Nelson a victim of foul play, or did he go missing voluntarily? Clinton Devin Nelson was born August the 9th of 1985 in Nebraska to parents Carolyn Johnson and Jeff Mason. Clinton's mother, Carolyn, found out she was pregnant at 17 years old, and initially Clinton's father, Jeff Mason, moved to Nebraska from Louisiana to help out with the baby. However, his father, Jeff, moved back to Louisiana after a short time, and Carolyn married another man when Clinton was young. Clinton's stepfather was in the military, and his job moved the family from Nebraska to Spearfish, South Dakota. Carolyn's husband legally adopted Clinton, and they had a biological daughter of their own, giving Clinton a sister. Carolyn Johnson describes her son Clinton as kind, caring, and compassionate. She says that he is the type of person who always sticks up for the underdog. Clinton loves hunting, fishing, and spending time outdoors. Clinton always had the gnawing feeling that his life was missing something. While by all accounts he grew up a typical teenager, Clinton's non-existent relationship with his birth father took a toll on his self-esteem and sense of purpose. He struggled in high school and began experimenting with drugs in his senior year. At 18 years old, Clinton accidentally overdosed by taking a lethal combination of medications, from which he ended up in the intensive care unit. Shortly after this incident, Clinton and some friends broke into their high school to steal items in an effort to amass money. Clinton was arrested for this burglary in 2003 and spent 6 months in prison. After his release, Clinton yearned for the opportunity to connect with his birth father. He wanted to find himself and experience a fresh start in rural Louisiana. Clinton's mother, Carolyn, was hesitant about his decision to move in with his birth father, citing Jeff Mason's lifestyle. She was worried Clinton would be exposed to situations that may hinder his progress, but Clinton was adamant about the decision. Clinton moved to Houghton, Louisiana to live with his birth father, Jeff Mason, his wife Debbie, and her children in March of 2006. Clinton's great-uncle was a supervisor on an oil rig, and he offered Clinton a job in Louisiana. Work on sites like oil rigs demand excruciatingly long hours and heavy physical labor, but they pay relatively good wages for entry-level positions. Jeff Mason's wife, Debbie, lamented sharing her small space with another person, and her irritation understandably increased when Clinton brought his bulldog, who she specifically requested Clinton leave behind. The new family adjusted to the new circumstances, as Clinton started his job at the oil rig. However, not too long after he began, Clinton was injured on the job when a pipe wrench fell on top of him, hitting his hard hat, resulting in 15 broken ribs, a broken arm, and a large laceration to his collarbone. Clinton went back to work as soon as he was able to, and he moved in with Debbie's daughter Rachel due to rising tensions in the house.
Sorry. Carolyn Tigan fights back tears, describing the search for her son, Clinton Nelson, who disappeared September 1st, 2006 after leaving a party.
He didn't deserve whatever happened that night, and His family does not deserve this, and his son sure as hell doesn't deserve this.
Now coming back to search year after year, including this visit in 2007, and this one in 2008, and again in 2009.
We believe that there are a number of people that have information about where he may be.
And investigators say they just need that one break in the case so Tigan can finally find her son.
If you know something, say something. That's the biggest thing I can say. Let me bring my boy home.
Finally, we asked her just how long she will continue the search for Clinton.
Till I'm dead.
Jeff Farrell, KSLA News 12.
Clinton told his mother in a phone call that he and his birth father had been looking into getting a place together, a place without Debbie. In addition to getting his own place, Clinton was looking to buy his mother's car due to his truck breaking down. Clinton didn't have a bank account, so his birth father, Jeff Mason, kept his money in a safe and gave it to Clinton when he asked. The day before his disappearance, Clinton requested money from his safe on August 31st, 2006. Clinton set out in his father's truck to go to his friend's house in Princeton, Louisiana, which is only 10 minutes north of Houghton. Jeff Mason assumed that Clinton wanted the money from the safe to celebrate his 21st birthday, which occurred a few weeks prior, and he gave Clinton around $600 before he left. Jeff Mason showed up to the friend's house around 3 p.m. the next day, September 1st, when Clinton didn't come home. Clinton peered at Jeff through the blinds as he approached the house, and he only spoke to his father through a crack in the door. After seeing that his son was okay, Jeff headed to work in his truck. The same day around 7 p.m., Debbie, Jeff's wife, called Clinton to tell him that his most recent paycheck had arrived in the mail and to ask if he needed it that night. But Clinton told her they could cash it out together the following day. Debbie asked Clinton if he needed a ride back to Houghton. But Clinton told her that he would catch a ride with his dad when Jeff finished his night shift that evening. Around 10 p.m., while Jeff Mason was still at work, he called Clinton to check in after he saw police headed towards the direction of Clinton's friend's house. Jeff says that Clinton sounded disturbed and scared. He says that Clinton whispered for the entire call, and he whispered that the police were after him before the line went dead. Jeff finished work and went home around 3 a.m. to discover Clinton had not made it back. Jeff Mason and his wife Debbie left early the next morning, September 2nd, to look for Clinton, and they drove to Clinton's friend's house where they were greeted by the friend and his girlfriend, but no Clinton. According to the friend, Clinton stepped out for a cigarette around 8:30 p.m. and never returned. Jeff Mason calls Clinton's mother, Carolyn, September 3rd to inform her of the situation, and he tells her that the police won't let him file a report until the end of the weekend. Jeff also tells Carolyn that on August 2nd, 2006, Clinton was searched as a passenger in a vehicle during a routine traffic stop after appearing nervous. He was found in possession of Xanax, marijuana, and ecstasy, and was arrested for possession of narcotics. However, Clinton swore to Jeff Mason and Debbie that the drugs were not his and that he had not been using again, so they decided to keep it from Carolyn. Clinton was still on probation from his previous infraction in 2003, so when a court date was set for drug possession and he missed the date, a warrant was put out for his arrest. Police came to Jeff's house and the friend's house to pursue the arrest warrant, but discovered that Clinton was nowhere to be found, which led them to wonder if Clinton left of his own volition. Clinton's family adamantly denies this suggestion. They cite the fact that he left his last paycheck behind, and the fact that Clinton was excited about the possibility of being a father. A few months after Clinton moved to Louisiana, he received a call from a woman in Spearfish, South Dakota, informing him of her pregnancy and his possible paternity. The baby boy was confirmed to be Clinton's after his disappearance. In the months following, while investigating Clinton's disappearance further, police found that there were many people at the house the night of his disappearance, and that the house was a hotspot for drug activity, particularly methamphetamines. The friend Clinton was visiting was arrested in 2011 for distributing meth from his home, but he has remained firm in his account that Clinton left at 8:30 to smoke. Others who attended the party the night of Clinton's disappearance claim he was acting paranoid and that Clinton was doing heavy narcotics. Police worry that Clinton may have run into the words under a drug-induced psychosis. They initiated a ground search in November, but the rural Louisiana terrain was not welcoming, and it produced nothing. Where the case stands today, Clinton's case remains unsolved. At the time of his disappearance, Clinton was wearing a black Echo brand t-shirt, blue jeans, a black knit cap, red and white DC brand sneakers, and he had a cell phone, though no calls were made after 10 p.m. on the night of his disappearance. Clinton's wire-frame glasses and wallet have not been found and were on him at the time of his disappearance. Though rumors are rampant throughout the community, none have been substantiated. There are many theories regarding Clinton's disappearance. While some believe Clinton left voluntarily to start a new life, others believe that he might have succumbed to the elements due to a drug-induced psychosis. Due to the large amount of cash he was carrying, some people believe that it may have been a drug-fueled robbery gone wrong. Because one can be charged with murder in the state of Louisiana if they supplied drugs to someone who overdosed, many believe that Clinton overdosed, or that his heart stopped, causing partygoers to panic and dispose of his body. Whatever theory is true, Clinton deserves to be found. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Clinton Nelson, please contact the Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office at 318-965-2203 or Bossier Crime Stoppers at 318-424-4100. 2. Brian Vargo. After being dropped off at a bus station, Brian vanishes. Brian Vargo was described as being a man of few words. Brian was described as being a man of few words. He was introverted and quiet, often keeping his thoughts to himself in most situations. This made Brian not necessarily memorable. However, he was above average in height and handsome, which could make him memorable. Brian wasn't part of the popular crowd, but wasn't unpopular amongst his peers. He was quiet and shy. Brian didn't play sports in college, but he did like to run and play basketball. Brian attended the occasional beer bust. He drank alcohol, as the legal drinking age was 18 back then. Brian smoked cigarettes in high school and college. In his journals from his first year of school, Brian wrote that he was running to try to beat his nicotine habit. He said he was feeling great and was losing weight. From 1973-1974, Brian worked as a night stalker for Safeway on Memorial Drive and Dairy Ashford Road in Houston. He used the money he made at Safeway to buy a new car, a used 1972 Mazda RX-2 sedan, which was white with an orangish interior. Brian also worked at his family's restaurant off and on, but preferred the Safeway job. In the fall of 1974, Brian started college at the University of Texas at Austin, and in the spring of 1975, he was on the dean's list at the engineering college. Events leading up to Brian's disappearance. In the fall of 1975, Brian went back to University of Texas. He and his first-year roommate moved into the Tin and Ford apartments and added a roommate. Brian did not do well in the fall semester. His report card showed that he passed 9 out of 12 hours. In the spring of 1976, Brian went back to University of Texas. He went home to Houston from January 30th, February 2nd. When Brian returned to UT, he stopped going to 3 of his 4 classes. He wasn't happy with his grades. Brian told his friends and family that he felt unfocused and needed time to clear his head and find himself. He applied to withdraw from UT but didn't tell his friends or family. According to journal entries, Brian knew he had a privileged life but felt like he was missing something intangible. On March 9, 1976, Brian's application for withdrawing was approved by the dean of the engineering college. This is the last documented time Brian's family has proof of his location. Events leading up to Brian's disappearance. In the fall of 1975, Brian went back to University of Texas. He and his first-year roommate moved into the Tin and Ford apartments and added a roommate. Brian did not do well in the fall semester. His report card showed that he passed 9 out of 12 hours. Brian disappears. No one is sure when Brian went missing. His roommates don't remember seeing him after March 9, 1976. At some point before he disappeared, Brian went home to Houston to get the title for his Mazda, but Brian's family isn't sure if he came home before March 9 or after. Brian withdrew from college and drove to Colorado. The APD doesn't say why he went to Colorado, but some reports say he went there to sell the car, while others say he was going to work on a dude ranch. While he was in Colorado, his car broke down. He then traveled to his parents' home in Houston, Texas, to pick up the Mazda's title. He was going to sell the car. After picking up the title, Brian's mom dropped him off at a Katy, Texas gas bus station. He has never been heard from again. Brian's family is unsure where Brian's car went after he disappeared. Brian's immediate family said the mechanic, whose shop Brian left the car at, called Brian's parents to say he had not returned to get the car. The mechanic said the car had been broken into and he wanted to settle up with the car. There is no evidence that the title was ever transferred. Investigation into Brian's disappearance. In 1977, Brian's mother contacted the Salvation Army Missing Persons Department. In April 1978, the Salvation Army said they were starting the investigation. The Salvation Army followed leads and found that Brian talked to his friends about traveling to Colorado and California, which the Salvation Army was following up on. The Salvation Army said they were asking the Social Security Administration to forward a letter to Brian to see if they could get an address. They also suggested that Brian's family write a letter to Brian. The letter should be friendly, express concern over not hearing from him, and also say they had a desire to speak with him. The Salvation Army said the letter shouldn't contain any info that would upset Brian. The Salvation Army never found Brian, and they closed the case in 1980. Brian's parents thought he'd come back when he was ready. Because of this, Brian was not reported missing until February 2, 2021, where the case stands today. On April 29, 2021, Austin police announced that they were seeking help finding Brian. As of today, Austin police are currently investigating Brian's disappearance. They have found no activity on his Social Security number since 1976. A July 21, 2021 update said that Brian's family really appreciates the interest, questions, advice, leads, and sharing we have received from everyone. The update said they have tracked down, contacted, and spoken to many of Brian's friends. The friends confirmed the story that Brian was heading to Colorado. He left for spring break 76 but didn't return for classes like they thought he would. They didn't know he withdrew. 4 accounts say that Brian's friends noticed he didn't return from his trip, and his roommates reached out to Brian's parents. The family believes DNA is available in the NameUS database as well as JD Match. They do not have dental records. They don't exist anymore. The family does have fingerprints. If anyone has information or knows anything about Vargo's disappearance, contact APD's Missing Persons Unit at 5 to 12 964 41 23.